Well, yo, welcome to this week's special episode of Sports Back Talk with Boly and Ringer, and we got this character with us. I didn't even bring my note. The Bjorn Johnson Experience, internet program. I don't know, Old Falls High grad. It's good to have him.
Anything on the back?
Nope, nothing there.
Don't have your name on the back?
Got
it's on the front.
Don't need anything once you got it.
Oh, I suppose it does say Bjorn.
It's like the reverse of a Harley shirt. All the good stuff's on the front. Right?
We'll be wearing this at our next show on Monday, and I'm going to put my name on the back.
There you go, Boly.
Put my name on. No, Bolstead.
Bolstead, the whole
Bolstead,
9 yards. So, well, Bjorn invited us onto his internet program, so we brought him back the other way. You want to talk a little bit about the program? People probably, some people obviously who watch know about it, but talk a little bit about your stuff.
For sure. The Ringer hit the mark there a little bit. I'm a Falls grad. I haven't lived here for quite a while, but of course I had Ringer, way back when for a football coach and a teacher, and then
a neighbor, and I got to know Mike, of course, through Burke or whatever. But yeah, I a couple years ago started doing some podcasting. It was kind of a new thing at the time, and I started with one podcast kind of based on my family farm called the Sundin Farmcast, and it kind of is a history of the Ray area and stuff. And then have been toying around with wanting to get a long-form interview show where I just have cool and interesting people on, and we sit down and talk, and that's all we do. And we have a conversation, and that started end of last July. That's the Bjorn Johnson Internet program. So the North Star Network, as it is grown, and I think I'm up to 58 episodes as of this Monday. So it's been a good first 9 months. Wait, now, if I do the math, it's 58 shows, but that's not 58 weeks. So
no.
I thought it was one a week.
Well, it typically is. It's typically every Monday a brand new episode comes out, but sometimes I get a bunch of guests lined up and have a bunch of interviews kind of banked, and I'll do 2 a week. Sometimes I'll do one on a Thursday, and in March and April I had kind of a push and did 2-3 episodes a week for every week of those months, and now wound it back to just the 1 a week format because it takes a lot of time and energy. But
so with 58 shows, where do you go from here? Well, I mean, does it just keep going, or is there a branching out process? Not that you have to let everybody know what's going on, but
well, I got all kinds of cool guests lined up because I'm not pigeonholed into one topic, right? Anything that anybody wants to come on and talk about, we sit down in the studio, I hit record, when we go. So, truthfully, having done 58 episodes, I probably have more guest potential now than I did 9 months ago because, when I first started off, and it was all awesome interviews, but it was a lot of close friends and people I trained with at the gym and interesting folks. And now it's kind of spread out, and I've actually had a handful of interviews with people I've never even met or just corresponded with on email. So that's one thing. I'm toying with doing a little road trip this summer, heading out west and hitting a bunch of gyms along the way and training and podcasting along that way. Because one theme with the show, there's a lot of jiu-jitsu in there, which we'll get into that. But there's also a lot of mixed martial artists, fighters, because they are all very interesting people. It's they make a living beating the snot out of each other, but are usually into other cool stuff too. So
yeah, one thing we do need to be careful. Unlike your show, we can't let our language kind of go.
Well, I watched myself, didn't I?
You do. Yeah, great. I just thought I'd warn you now because I remember doing the show.
We don't want to have to do any editing.
And it's a little different what Bjorn does, and I think I was on with Bjorn, and you said you've had lots of interesting people, and so now I'm wondering why I was on. But
you two are two of the most popular guests I've had. I don't know how it happened, but it happened.
I heard mine and yours went viral. Is that true?
Pretty much in comparison, with the numbers I get. Ringer's episode went up, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there and I texted him before noon, and I'm like, "You're already over 50 downloads," and he's like, "Is that good?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's really good." And then Mike was on a couple months later, and it was the same thing except even faster.
Even what?
Even faster.
Like more?
Scarier. No, a quicker rate. You got to 100 faster, but then you're actually I believe number 4 most popular guest of all time. That's actually pretty good because number 1 is Minnesota MMA legend Brock Larson.
And, you somehow broke through into that top 5. So.
Well, I'm happy to be there. And I'm guessing if I came on again, I would crack maybe the top 1 or 2. But if you haven't been to it, how do you get to the site? Because this site is so cool. He's a unique individual. I'll come right out and say it. But he interviews very well. He asks the questions. He lets you answer them. We're ringers sometime, me and you and I, we kind of ask a question, let you finish about half, and then we jet back in again. But you do an amazing job. How do we go to that site and listen and learn what you got going on?
Well, it's www.northstar.net is the website, and there is a ton of stuff there. The video editions of the show, some of the ones that are shot in studio or up on video, I had some technical difficulties with that. NORSESTAR.net. So go on over there and check that out, and there's links to all the past episodes. There's my other podcast I do. There's some friends links, because I'm trying to connect independent talent and people that are into things. Like my good friend Bryce Ehrman's blog is on there. He's on an amazing weight loss journey. I got a link to like a friend who's a good musician. So we're trying to build like this network of independent folks and kind of co-promote each other. Go check it out, see what all's on there, and you can get, of course, products like the t-shirts they got, stickers, the hats. I got a couple hats I'm going to give away in a little bit. And, when you brought up the t-shirts, this is actually the first time I've worn. This is the brand new.
This is the new version.
This is the unveiling, this show. I had it specially made just for this, but this is the official.
It has that little low-down V-neck, so you show
chest hair.
Chest hair.
Yeah, I'm an adult. You are? I'm not a kid.
No, you'll always be a kid, Bjorn. You'll always be a kid.
He's coming out here with big tats and.
So talk about jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
What's different about jiu-jitsu compared to judo or karate or?
Sure. Well, jiu-jitsu is a grappling art. It really is just a form of wrestling. In the U.S., of course, we have Greco, freestyle, and folk style wrestling, and people are familiar with that. And if you kind of look at the history of wrestling, it was originally set up as a self-defense system and a way that incorporated locks and whatnot to submit opponents. But then, the powers that be started getting involved and started taking away techniques to make things more safe. And that's where we end up with our freestyle and folk style wrestling, right? So the biggest difference here is, in wrestling, the number one rule is if you're on your back, you're done. If you get pinned, it's over. In jiu-jitsu, my day starts from the back, and it's all about using technique and leverage to maneuver your opponent off of you. If you want, I can go into the history of it and whatnot, but it's just a grappling art, and it's a form of wrestling with a different name.
So why jiu-jitsu? What's the pull for you? There's got to be something there that makes you go that it's enjoyable.
Sure, absolutely. Well, it kind of goes back to, truthfully, podcasts. Several years back, that's when I got into listening to podcasts, and people were talking about so many of the ones I listened to, folks were talking about jiu-jitsu. And I knew a little bit. I'd heard about jiu-jitsu here and there from watching mixed martial arts events, the UFC, of course, the history of stuff. And then you always heard of jiu-jitsu, and it's this ground-based thing, and all of a sudden these guys are getting cool arm bars and choking guys out. And where's this coming from? So I started hearing more and more about it on podcasts, and I'm like, God, maybe I should try this. And I even started listening to some jiu-jitsu podcasts before I got into it, because there's this mindset and lifestyle that goes with it. And I'm like, God, this seems appealing. So finally one day I was kind of just at a rut in life, I guess, and I was overweight. I was working out, trying to stay in shape, but you can only do so much lifting and running for so many years, and it gets boring. And I said, you know what, I'll go try this at least. And the first week was fun, but you get choked and beat up, and you're sore and you're tired, and it's just like any new sport. It's like that first football two-a-day. You wake up, not Tuesday, but Wednesday, and you're stiff and sore, and it's kind of that. And I'm like, okay, I've got to figure this stuff out. I got to do more of this, and it just has kind of built up from there, I guess. I got the bug, so to speak, and then, there's a belt system. It's white belt, blue belt, purple belt. And after a year of doing it, I was really invested, and I'm like, I want to try to get this blue belt. That's where I'm at right now. And the bigger part of the journey kind of is you find out that the belt doesn't matter. It's all about the learning. And yeah, stuck with it, and now I'm kind of hooked for life.
It's kind of interesting. You mentioned that you're trying to stay in shape or get in shape, and you take up a new sport. Well, I did kind of the same thing. I kind of reached a crossroads in my life where I was gaining weight, and I still am. Where I said, Mike, you got to start being more active. So I took up bowling.
All right. Yeah.
Okay, and now I'm a league bowler, and I bowl at least once or twice a week, and I kind of counter it because I drink probably 5 or 6 beers while bowling.
No, that's important.
I'm not sure if it really works, but jiu-jitsu is more of a discipline, more of a serious, unlike like wrestling per se, right?
Well,
I just made that up.
I don't know if I'd lump wrestling in there, but it is a discipline. I mean, it will, Bill here, he's in the audience, and I took him today, and he quickly learned things that he couldn't do. He's never been on a mat to do this stuff, and what I've kind of broken it down to, and I don't know much about the sport, but I've cut it down to, it will expose every one of your weaknesses and make you feel like a complete idiot, but jiu-jitsu will also present the opportunity to fix that, and it will give you the tools to fix it. So that's part of it, but in the same note, yeah, it's a discipline because you can get good at jiu-jitsu doing it 1 day a week. It's just going to take a long time. You got to go 3 days a week.
Okay.
You got to put your time in, and you have to train intelligently and then spar intelligently, because a typical class is a warm-up and then like an hour of technique, whatever technique we're working on, and there's thousands of them. And then it's, at 7 o'clock, class is done, and we start sparring. We start rolling. We start from our knees, and it's full-on battle for 5 minutes. You slap hands, bump fists, and you're trying to kill each other. And
so in essence, it is very much like bowling.
yeah, very similar.
Because we give each other a little fist pump, and we do a little pre-bowling.
Right.
And then we get in there and spar.
Right.
And the more you bowl, the better you get. So,
Exactly.
I mean, I kind of compared bowling with jiu-jitsu in a goofy little way. Karate, is it karate or karate? How is that different from jiu-jitsu?
Well, I don't truthfully know much about karate, but karate's a striking-based thing. It's a boxing system. In America, we just call it boxing, but there's boxing, kickboxing, there's, Savate kickboxing, Muay Thai, American kickboxing, karate, taekwondo. They're all just forms of striking, of kickboxing. Okay. So in jiu-jitsu, there is no strikes. Some forms there are, but there is no strikes. It's all grappling based. So we're on the ground trying to use leverage and angles to get to submissions, whether it's an arm lock, an arm bar, a choke, whatever.
So there's no scoring to it.
Oh yes,
there's a scoring.
Oh yes, there is a scoring system to it, and it's harder to explain without seeing it. It's like trying to explain the scoring system in wrestling, but there's scores for getting in different positions and whatever, and then ultimately, so in a tournament, if it's a points tournament, it's usually 5 to 8 minute rounds that you have, and you spar. And you're rolling around. You actually do start on your feet in a tournament. So you got to have a takedown, or you pull guard, which is a whole other thing. But you're going for points there. And of course, the match can end at any time with a submission. If somebody catches you or you catch somebody and they tap, it's done. Go ahead.
Let's go into that. Let's jump over. Let's get into the goofy world of all-star wrestling.
All right.
WWE stuff. I know Billy Schrader's huge into it. I mean, you guys would rather go watch this than go check out a Wild game. Am I right?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I watched it back in the 80s when the first WrestleMania came out, WrestleMania with Hulk Hogan and all the boys, Jimmy Superfly Snuka and Vern Gagne and all them guys.
Yeah.
What's going on in the world of wrestling? China just died.
Yeah, truthfully, I'm not. We actually do one portion of my podcast. I got a group of 2-3 guys from the gym that we get together and watch old wrestling pay-per-views, and we do a podcast while we're doing it. All right.
Oh, wow.
it's not like a play-by-play. We tell people when it starts and what match we're watching, but usually probably 75% of the conversation is anything but wrestling. And we'll talk about maybe industry terms and stuff, but actual up-to-date wrestling, I'm not really familiar with what's going on with the product, aside from, WWE, they're the big dudes.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes back to, I think, 2008 when Linda McMahon was running for Senate. She's the owner's wife, right? Co-owner of the thing. And they decided to change their brand, and they went to more of a PG format. So that eliminated all blood, all swearing, anything that looked dangerous or whatever. So it's become, in my opinion, there are going to be people that watch this that are into it, because these communities get into this, and people can feel free to yell at me on the comment section of my site if they want. But the new brand is not as entertaining. It doesn't have truthfully doesn't have the violence, which makes
is part
it
of the draw.
Yeah, absolutely. But there still is a lot of talent out there. But day-to-day stuff, like we actually watched WrestleMania this year. We did actually a live show during WrestleMania, watched it, and I had no idea who anybody was aside from some of the very old Vanguard, the guys that were there in the late 90s, early 2000s and stuff. But you mentioned, Mike, we'd rather go to that than like a Wild game or a Vikings game or whatever, or especially a Twins game. I know you guys are going to get into them in a second here, but
no, we're going to let you get into it. I'm done talking.
It's just a nonstop show. I mean, the whole show, the whole purpose of the sport is for entertainment, and it's really well written. And you have people whose life is making this storyline and having it unfold in the right way that always keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Sure.
So when you go to a live, there's no commercial breaks. There's no stop. Like you go to a Vikings game and you're sitting there enjoying your hot dog and a drink, and you look down and you're like, well, why isn't anybody playing? And what are these yams doing walking around out in the field? Oh, it's a commercial break. 3 minutes later, you go back to work, or and 2-3 plays or whatever. When we went to the SmackDown, which was one of the shows, it was nonstop for 3.5-4 hours action. There's no time between matches, or if there was, there's some guy spinning plates or shooting balloons with a BB gun or something. There's always something going on. So.
The crowd, you guys got to get into it out there. You guys can't sit there and whisper. You got to get
We have
into
the
it.
best crowd of the year.
Best crowd of the year, and they're the quietest
Best
crowd of the year.
It's like
This is
Gracious.
it looks like they're all on like beer number one, and they're really a little quiet and shy right now.
Is it?
In a couple of hours, when we get into the real good stuff here, it's going to get it.
Right.
We're in Minnesota. We're not on number one.
You guys are from Fort Francis then.
Well, he's from Minnesota. They're from Minnesota by association.
Yeah, so we got to get Bjorn Johnson with us today. Go ahead, Ringer.
Yeah, where you want to jump? You want to go hockey? Should we talk a little hockey first?
You know anything about hockey? Right?
Sure don't.
Well, it is Saturday evening when we're taping this show, and earlier today, St. Louis went into Dallas.
Yeah.
Got a 4-1 win. Did I see it right?
4-1 win. 4-1
I'm sure you
shellacking.
watched all 60 minutes.
What else is there to do in my life?
I know.
Really, I have nothing else. I watch hockey, I talk about hockey, and I go to bed. What a life, huh?
It is the life that
Pretty
we
sad, but
Hey.
it's I like
It's an
it.
existence.
And you're getting yourself better each and every day with bowling, so that's
Tell
that's
you what,
the component.
and I hope I
At
didn't
every step.
insult you with the analysis of comparison of bowling with jiu-jitsu, but you got to understand the audience needs to kind of give a little take.
I hear it. I
Okay.
get it.
And getting back to the Dallas series, that should be over, huh?
It should
Next
be.
game's in St. Louis.
Next game is in St. Louis. Should be over, I assume, on Monday night. It will come to an end. And I don't know. You're not at all surprised, I don't think, by the fact that St. Louis
Not at all.
is going to win.
No, I like how St. Louis is playing. They're a big body team, physical, have 4 quality defensemen, and better goaltending. They're a better team. Sagan could help out, I'm guessing, with Dallas. Hey, Billy? They could use a little Sagan out there, but I don't think he'll be back in this series. So I say one more and done. What else?
Pittsburgh, Washington tonight. We're probably it's probably starting as we sit here. I'm sure you've got an itch to get home and watch that one.
Actually, no.
No, because you know there's going to be a game 6 because you know the Caps are going to win tonight,
Yeah.
trailing 3-1. The NHL knows that they've got to win that game tonight, so the referees know it too, right?
And I'm also trying to prove to myself that I don't need to watch hockey. You know, that I can actually get
That after 50 years you
get
can
out
give it up?
and, you know, converse. Is that the word? Converse with other human beings. You know, and that's.
Doesn't that give you and your son some quality time to
It
spend
gives
together?
us quality time. He just sits there and sees me yelling at a TV and shakes his head and says, "Dad, you should try jiu-jitsu."
There you go.
Okay.
So late game tonight, the Sharks and Nashville.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. I mean, who can beat that? Okay, you're tired. You don't feel like doing much, so you go to your bedroom and turn the channel to San Jose and Nashville at 9 o'clock. Bert came in the other. Did I tell you this?
You did this morning. I think you told me about this. That he came in. You had the remote laying on your chest. Thought you, yeah.
I was asleep. Had the remote right here. Nobody's going to take it from me.
That's right.
That's
You know,
dedication.
You got to protect that thing.
Had that remote
That's
right here.
valuable.
Burke's Nashville Predators won that game 2-2. Should be a fun game tonight. Are you going to watch it?
If I can stay up that late, I'm gonna try. But boy, I'm old or something. I don't know. Making it till 11:30 midnight. That's a tough gig.
I know for a fact, and I don't know if you guys know this or not. My gray hair, I've had people come, "Boy, geez, your gray hair." And I said, "Yeah, I know. A lot of my friends have gone gray. Okay, there is a dye out there. It's a gray dye. A lot of women are doing it. What I do is I dye my hair gray so all my buddies don't feel so bad. And that's why
Nice.
I got the
There
gray
you
hair.
go. There you go. What other
get out of
series?
hockey.
You want to get out of hockey? There's one more series to talk about. The Islanders and
We don't talk about that series.
We don't talk about that
Nobody
series. Boy.
cares. The Islanders in Tampa.
Tampa Bay.
You know.
Tampa Bay is going to take care of it. You want to move over to NBA very briefly? Very
You and
briefly.
Bjorn talk.
Bjorn, you watch the NBA at all? No NBA
No
at all.
NBA.
No You used to be a basketball guru, I think, didn't you?
More, I followed a lot of of course, the Broncos, and then college. But that was about it. And the NBA's never appealed to me that much.
Yeah, the NBA is a different animal. They've got they definitely have it's a niche, I guess, if I can call it that.
Yeah.
But I know Toronto and Miami were playing when I left the house. Didn't watch a second of it because the Kentucky Derby was on. And Nyquist comes through with the win. Stood right at. I wasn't supposed to say anything out loud. Oh no, I was.
No, that was my person I was hoping for.
Oh, there you go. Well, there you go. I thought maybe you had taped it and I just
That was
moved
your
it.
what?
My horse. that was
Didn't
my
you say my person? Did you say my person?
No, my horse, my people, the people.
The peeps.
Come on.
So,
money on it instead of buying beer.
Nyquist sat out back about second or third place and just sat there and waited for their moment. And when they came off to the home stretch, he just burst out and was gone. And Exaggerator came in and closed in and made it close at the end. But hopefully we'll get another chance to get horse racing up and going again. It is kind of fun to go watch. And you ever been to Canterbury?
I've been to Canterbury one time. Well, we went there, I think, for a bachelor party. We stopped there real quick and got there right at the last race.
So you plunked a $100 bill down.
No, you know what? I went up to make bets and had no idea what in the heck to do. None whatsoever. And I'm like, just give me $5 worth and let's call it good. So I got to watch one race, and I have no idea what I bet.
Do you remember who
did
was
not
getting
win.
married? Who was being?
Oh yeah, it was Bryce Herman.
It was
Yeah.
Bryce. Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, let's play a little game.
All right. Let the game
Horse
begin.
racing, sport, no sport. Bjorn.
Sure is a sport for the horse, at least.
For you.
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I of course the Triple Crown races, the Preakness and the Belmont and the Kentucky Derby. I was telling my wife as I was watching, and I say every year Kentucky Derby time. Next year I'm going to watch the pre-races as they build up the Florida Stakes and the Arkansas and the Wood Memorial and Santa Anita and all that other stuff. And then today I sit down and I'm like, I haven't watched the race. I got no clue what's going on. So yeah, I'm interested, but only probably for the three big races. The Breeder Cup comes on in November, and it's football season. Who's got time to watch horse racing during football season?
And I'm
That's crazy.
not trying to promote Canterbury, but me and my wife Diana go down at least once, sometimes twice a year, and we really enjoy it. It's a good way to spend the afternoon. Very inexpensive. You get in for free. You buy a $2 book. Gives you
All the info?
basically information that can maybe help you win or lose. And you can either read it or not, but it's a good 3-hour day, and we just have a blast watching horses, and we go watch all the horses walk in.
And then you go right across the way to Valley Fair and go spin.
I don't like the high rides. I like the spinny ones, but anyways, next question. I'm going to do one more, and that'll be it. We mentioned this before, and we don't want to make our audience mad. Walleye fishing, sport? No sport. Bjorn?
No, I don't like fishing. So.
It's a sport for the fish, I think.
It's a sport for the fish.
I think fishing. I don't know if you consider it a sport, but there's a talent to it, and I'll cover it like a sport because I think it has some advantages. But we also discussed, is auto racing is that a sport?
As long as you can turn left.
As long as you can turn left. Of course, those guys that do the Formula One where they get out there, that seems to be a little more whatever, but the cars do everything. They don't even have to shift. They just hit the gas and go.
I'll say this about all three of what I just mentioned, okay? Whether they're a sport or not, somebody's doing really good things to make themselves better than the rest. For example, bass fishing. We have that bass fishing tournament. It's no accident the same people end up on that stage top three every year. There's few flukes, like a Richie Rudd might pop up once in a while on there, and must have a good partner. But usually the cream rises to the top, and same thing for racing horses, walleye fishing. And soccer, what's the other one I mentioned?
Auto racing.
Auto racing, yeah. I mean, Jimmy Johnson, he's a phenomenal athlete. Good-looking guy, too.
And he's making a lot of money doing it, so why not do it, right? I mean, whether it's a sport or not.
Yeah, but anyways, we digress a little. Where are we going now?
You want to talk about the Twins and their implosion this week? I've never in my life, and it's been a meteor-length life at 46. I don't think I've ever seen the Twins go into panic mode in it's May 7th today. On May 5th, the Twins just absolutely said, this season's over. We're going to start cutting people loose, not even trying to send them down now, whatever, hoping they'll clear waivers. I was totally whatever. They are hoping and praying that people look at this as a way of saying, oh, they are trying to get better. We'll still go watch them. It's a scary week for the Minnesota Twins. I really don't know what's going to happen.
Bjorn, thoughts?
I don't follow the Twins a lot, but I've watched them. I've watched a few games this year, and what I will say is the dugout, it tells everything. You got a team. Ringer and I coached and played in enough of these games. Yeah, before the game starts who's going to win or lose sometimes based on the body language, and you got just a lifeless bunch in there with no focus. And the couple games I've watched on the same note, and I know you mentioned on several episodes ago, they're not stealing, they're not running. You referenced a specific, it might have been a sack fly, or no, it was Joe Mauer, holding Joe Mauer up at third, and it's like, send him. You got nothing to lose. Play aggressively. Do something. Hit somebody in the nose. I don't care. Get fire going.
And I think the big thing that I see, and I've said this before, going back to Joe Mauer, and I think I said it on this show, and I've said it a lot over the last 12 months. Joe Mauer's the leader of that team, whether he wants to be or not. Yeah. And rarely does it look like he's out there enjoying himself. It's a job. And baseball, or any sport for that matter, is not supposed to be that way. I know there's got to be a serious point in the game when but there's a point when you got to be happy. When you hit a double, you lace one down the line and you stand in on second base, and you got to snap your hands and point to the dugout and say, hey, that was fun. Let's do it. Let's get some more of that. And Joe gets out there and pulls off his thing, and he pulls off his elbow thing, and he throws it to the coach, and it's like this. It's just like I don't know how you get a kid excited about going to watch that when there's no zest, there's no whatever. And I'm not looking for fights. I don't want to see somebody going after an umpire or whatever. But show some passion for what you're doing. Show some love, and it just. Ugh.
You brought it very good. By the way.
Thank you.
I mean, I just threw it at you, and you hit it right on the head. Is look at the dugout, look at the eyes of the players, and see if there's anything in those eyes. And you can definitely tell there's not. I noticed a couple times yesterday, Rosario, for example, one time, he struck out, and he just basically flung his bat up in the air and was laughing. And I saw another guy laugh. I'm not sure who it was. After he struck out, I'm kind of going, well, what are you? I don't see the humor in striking out. Okay,
That's not the kind of laughing I'm
that to
talking
me is
about.
insulting to the manager, and I think what's going on. And Molitor made note of saying this was not done by these moves with Malone and who's the other guy?
Fiend.
Fiend. These were not moves made with based on their performance. There's other issues there. So whether they're messing around, goofing around the locker room after losses, managers kind of read into that. If a guy's happy after every game that they're losing, you probably don't want that guy in your locker room. And I'm guessing that had more to do with it than anything. So Molitor's a good manager, and again, I'll always take the good players. You can have the good coach, and I think maybe a change at the hitting coach, Bransky. I mean, obviously the players aren't getting it, and maybe he's the one that should go.
Well, usually it's either the manager and the coaches stay, or the coaches go and the managers stay. And the Twins, like I said, they went after the players this week, and like you said, you might be hitting it right on the head. They need some chemistry issues. They may need to get some. Mastriani comes back to a couple of years ago. He was on the team. They got rid of him. Now he comes back, signs a minor league contract. Now he's back up with the majors. Maybe they're looking for a little veteran leadership. And that team last year, it goes back to Torrey Hunter. Torrey Hunter came in that team. Whatever. Torrey knew how to have a good time, how to make baseball fun, and without Torrey there, it seems like they've gone back to Joe Mauer, and they play very lackluster, stoic.
Yeah, and then you kind of watch Bernansky, as far as yelling at the umpires and things like that. That doesn't help, and I don't know. What are you gonna do? They're 8-21.
Yeah, it's something like that. It isn't good. I decided not to keep up anymore till they get to double-digit wins, and that might not be till June. So
I did mention this too on an earlier show. I don't know if you caught it, but the more they lose, the better off I am. Because like I said, my Diana and I go down at least once or twice to go down and watch horse racing and catch a Twins game, and the worse they play, the lower my price gets for that ticket up there. And, so I'd be buying $5, $10 tickets instead of paying regular price. So it's a good deal. Keep losing Twins.
Have you guys talked at all about those glasses that Joe Mauer is wearing in training at all?
No, we have not talked about that.
So are you familiar with this?
Well, I heard that he was going to help to...
Yeah. So he's got these glasses because, of course, he has those concussion issues. And the more we're finding out that, some of these symptoms can last years or indefinitely or whatever. And that's been one speculation of his drop in batting. And I can see it. I mean, we've seen concussed players and know how it works. And so these glasses, they basically strobe on and off rapidly. Oh. So he's wearing them in batting practice, and other professional catchers are using them. And it essentially kind of shortcuts the learning of hand-eye coordination and stuff. And he claims, and the numbers are kind of showing, that it is helping his batting. He's able to track the ball a lot easier, because that was the big thing I know he was saying for a while, is that he's just not seeing the ball.
Are these glasses like brand new? This year?
Yeah, well,
obviously they didn't exist last year.
No, they're relatively new technology from what I understand, and they're using them in all kinds of applications. Golfers are using them because that's such hand-eye stuff. But yeah, so it's basically just making your brain see the whole picture in snippets, and then it translates over to the real world.
I guess today, there's a lot of concussions in football and hockey, and the day I see a guy out there with strobed sunglasses on during a hockey game, I'm going to start to worry a little bit about that sport. But what else? What do we got from the audience? Anything? Any questions? Concerns?
How's fishing?
How's what?
Fishing.
Well, if I told you how many walleye I caught today, I would have been fishing illegally now, wouldn't I?
Good answer. Very good answer.
Thanks. But I heard it's been really good in the river. The sturgeon tournament was today. I do not have any statistics, but Ringer, being the sports guy he is, what happened today?
Tim doesn't know either about I was at a baseball game. I will say Rainy River Baseball was at home playing for the Northern Division Championship. I will tell you that they had a 3-1 lead going into the 7th inning, and unfortunately lost game 1 5-3. before my phone died, just before we started taping the show, they were tied 6-6 in the bottom of the ninth. So possibly a Northern Division title there. So that was kind of had my focus this afternoon. So with the Sturgeon going on, I can also tell you that Rainy River softball was playing in the Region 13B tournament. They lost in the championship game to Central Lakes by a score of 5-1. So the Rainy River softball season comes to an end.
Nice river segue.
Did you like that? How I got out of the Sturgeon and off?
Speaking of the river, right on the river we have golf. Talk about, do you know what's going on in the high school golf today?
Well, the girls came out with another win today. Boy, you were watching Facebook, weren't you? I got that post out as quickly as I could. Thank you to, of course, all the coaches who send me the pictures of the scorecards and everything, and I get them out onto Facebook as quickly as I can. The girls, another win today. They are undefeated on the season. Again, Maggie Roeder comes out as the
2 in a row.
2 in a row. She is the individual medalist, and the girls won very not comfortably, but a nice. I think it was 13 strokes they won by on an 18 hole. They shot 377, which is about a 94 average for the four girls.
13
So,
points.
Yeah, so they won by 13. Is that comfortable?
Points.
Did I say points or shots? Did I say points?
No, you did good.
He's got me thinking now because I'm. Yeah, and of course the thing is you look at Section 7-2A, you go out there, the teams that I think the Broncos have to worry about, they are seeing, and so hopefully this is a good sign. Of course, a lot of times it's not always good to be going in as being the favorite. Some people don't relish that. It's always a tough place to play at, but the Bronco girls golf team has been playing very, very well. The boys are as well. They went to Hibbing on Friday and got a nice win there. So the golf teams look very good. Softball team, if I can talk about them, 2 huge wins on Thursday as they went to Nashwauk and beat previously undefeated Nashwauk Keewatin and took down Grand Rapids in extra innings in 9 innings. A big win there for them. They're 10-2. I would not have expected this out of the youth of this softball team. I think even the kids and the coaches have to be slightly surprised that they're sitting at 10-2, but great for them. And it's just,
I think Kevin Gordon's having a good time this year. He's probably teaching a lot more than he has over the past years. He's had some really good lineups the past 5-6 years, and this was kind of a possible rebuilding thing for him. And sometimes be careful what you ask for, because there's some good talent there.
I thought maybe you meant that because he's retiring from teaching soon, that maybe he can enjoy this a little bit more because the light is getting very big in the tunnel.
Congratulations to him, by the way. Geez, good for you. Retire, and that's kind of retire when you can, when you're healthy. Don't wait till you're 65.
What else? What other questions? That's where we were.
What do we got? Any questions? Anything from the Bjorn Johnson fan club?
Yeah, come on, Taco.
What about,
come on.
You got any tough jiu-jitsu questions for the guy? Huh?
I want him to come to the studio tomorrow and show us a little something.
Do what?
You want?
Come to the studio and show us a little something.
I maybe can. Tomorrow's Mother's Day, though, so.
Yeah, we'll take down moms.
Yeah.
Luckily, she's not in town. I'm just trying to get out of it. Yeah, no, I'll come down there.
Always the
I'll
best
come
thing.
down there. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I don't know much, but all the stuff that I've learned to do has been on my own. So.
Got a sparring partner for you.
All right.
Leona's going to come on. Nice.
I'll take Leona. Not a question.
Bring it on.
Not a Boly ringer jiu-jitsu off.
No.
No.
Who's? I see you got a boyfriend with you tonight. Who's your guy friend?
Father of children.
Huh?
My wonderful husband, Lloyd.
Lloyd?
Yes.
Oh, hi Lloyd. How are you?
Great.
And your sons are Matt and Paul then, who own the Looney Brew, which is where we're at today, huh?
Hey.
And
I gotta say, this is a really cool venue. This really is.
yeah, I think it is too. And usually Paul and Matt are here. Maybe they're out pre-fishing and
Well, yeah,
find where the walleye bite is.
years back, you bartended here, Mike, when it was still Woody's, and I told people forever, like, why are not more people here? This is the best view on the lake of any lakeside bar, and
The only thing I can
easy
tell
to get to. You can ride your bike. You can take the bike path back, for God's sake.
Exactly. Is I can't say too much because that would be considered advertising, but they got a lot of plans for this place this summer, so You got to come out here and check it out. This place is going to be cool. This place is going to be going.
Nice.
I'm telling you, I'm even going to hang here, so you know it's going to be cool.
You know that it's cool.
All right. So nice to meet you, Lloyd. I heard a lot about you, and I heard you like sports. And any questions from you today, Lloyd? Or
How come they don't bring Hunter back as a coach or something?
a consultant coach?
Yeah.
What kind of coach? Like a hitting coach?
Basically, just get fire in the team.
How about an entertainment? How about let's have fun, coach? The Twins got to have enough money. Twins got to have enough money to do it, right?
Last year, he was what brought the team.
He was the catalyst, no doubt about it.
I agree with you 100% on that. And if you watched the White Sox play last night, if you notice how they were playing energy, they caught 3 balls that were just really good plays. They're into it. I mean, they're having a blast. They're giving each other high fives. And the Twins have pounded the White Sox around the past 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And right now, they're taking to the Twins.
Did you know that the White Sox are in first place in the Central? Even above. I did not know that till today.
Last night when Dick Bremer told me. That's
God
how
bless
they
Dick
found
Bremer.
out. So what else? Come on, the audience. Let's have some questions. Billy Schrader, what do you got? Huh?
I want to know who wins in a jiu-jitsu match between these two.
Wow. Wow, who wins in jiu-jitsu between Boly and Ringer? I'm going to go with Boly. I'm going to go Boly because he's a Bronco and I'm not, and so that gives him the advantage.
But you're a football player.
But you're a hockey player and you guys know how to play dirty.
You must have.
Can't bring a stick in.
Well, you must have wound up in the wrestling room down in old Toivola Meadowlands, didn't you? Every now and then.
wrestling room, old TM. We didn't have anything like that.
I think when I see what's going on here,
But you wrestled cattle.
trying to cause turmoil between Boly and Ringer.
They're trying to break us up.
I can see what's going on here. And, right now, we're in a lot of squabbles over whose name should be first. Should it be the Boly Ringer or should it be Ringer and Boly? And when I saw it was Ringer and Boly the other day, I was not happy.
To answer the question, though, I am going to go. I'm going to go with Mike because it comes down to who's the most technical, and I know Mike is a heck of a golfer, which is a very technical sport, and I think you could get the moves down. So I give it to you.
It's based on golf.
I don't know if I'll go with his argument, but I'll go that he's right. How's that?
Well, and the weight advantage. So.
What else?
We'll edit that out of there. Anyway.
What else we got?
How about the Vikings draft?
We talked about that last week. I could say I'm not going to answer because we already did, but I will because you're Lloyd, and Lloyd, you're a good guy. I thought they had the 4th best draft in the NFL, behind Baltimore, Jacksonville, and Cleveland. Yeah.
You said, yeah.
But the Vikings drafted for need. They drafted some depth because they're loaded. Okay, and I really like that linebacker, that Brothers out of Missouri. They got him in like the 5th or 6th round, and I think he's going to be a starter for the next 10 years. So I liked what they did. What'd you think?
I thought they did very well.
Good, Ringer.
Did you guys, I noticed today that they've got all their draft picks signed except for the number 1 guy, which I don't think is a surprise. But are you surprised that everybody else is signed? It's only been a week.
Well, this isn't. 7, 8 years ago, everybody held out until they got caught. Now, per the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, each draft round is specified for a certain dollar amount. So it takes a lot of negotiating out for the agents and people like that. Basically, if you're a 5th rounder, here's what you're going to get. You're going to get between 2.1 and 2.3 million over 4 years. Okay, so $500,000 a year to go beat yourself up, which isn't a lot compared to a lot of sports. But ever since they put the new collective bargaining agreement where set contracts, even the first rounders now, because Laquan Treadwell has a set amount. He's either got to sign for the high part of it or the low part of it, but he's got to sign between those. It's going to happen. It's just whether he'll sign for the lesser or the more.
How about the free agents that the Vikings signed this week? Anybody? I know you probably were watching. Anybody on there that caught your interest?
Well, that Johnson kid out of Morehead State, I like what he's going to possibly bring to the team, and he's a big boy. He's about 6'5", 240, linebacker, runs like a 4.44 40, and that Johnson kid.
There you go.
I don't even know if there's a Johnson kid.
He made that.
I don't know who that
Here he is. I got him. He's the guru, and he
This just tells you how, these Mel Kuypers of the world, they just make stuff up and people just at home shaking their heads.
I was gonna go home and check up on this linebacker. No,
You were going to go check up on this Johnson guy.
It's like he's full of crap. What do you know?
I don't know.
We knew that already.
First
probably.
time ever, I have not really looked into who they signed as free agents because I don't think anybody can. The Vikings are good to go. They're just doing it to have a few players to play in those first 2 preseason games.
Is that offensive line sure enough?
Yeah, why don't we? Well, we spent more money than any team in the NFL on our offensive line. What does that tell you, Bjorn? You were an old offensive lineman, weren't you?
It tells me we still got a left tackle who can't make it more than a few plays without hurting something, and we got a right tackle that is up for grabs
Andre
at any
Smith.
point, no matter how much money. Well, yeah, so we got him now, but you never really know until the season gets going how it puts together, how they're going to mesh. But that's always what it's going to come down to. You can't win a championship without an offensive line. And I'm not just saying that because Ringer's here. That's a fact, Jack.
That's the fact, Jack.
Kissing up the ringer. I don't know how it is. What's that?
Crickets.
Talk about soccer, she said.
Soccer.
There is some great human interest story in soccer this last week.
Like?
Whether you follow or not.
Spike brought it up. The guy, team that was at 50,000 to 1.
5,000.
That's a gambling subject. It has nothing to do with soccer.
Mike's good at sales.
I sense that this isn't your flavor.
No, definitely not.
When Minnesota gets their MLS team here in the next couple of years, Mike will be on board. I'll take him to a soccer match just because so that we can talk about it more in the future.
It's the one segment you have alienated. You've got to bring them together. Just like the Republican Party, you have to unify.
That's going to take some study.
I think she's the first person that's
Would you try to
made me
pick?
quiet.
Would you try to pick the one thing that's dumber and more boring than soccer? So you go with that.
Here we go.
Wow.
Yeah, there you go.
What's next?
I got soccer fans and Republicans all at once.
Okay, we're going into what's that? Religion?
yeah, Catholic.
We're not going to go. Wow, is it getting windy out there? Look at that.
It's a little gusty out there in Sand Bay.
Yeah, little sheep going on, but anything else? I don't know. I just don't want to sit up here and make stuff up like
You
the
got
Johnson guy.
Bjorn's got a final say.
Well, no, other sports things to just keep on the radar. Have you guys been following kind of the lacrosse growth in this state?
But I'll be honest with you, I think we're so far away from it yet.
Yeah.
Just like soccer was maybe 15 years ago, we were so far away from it, it really didn't have an effect on us. I would love to see lacrosse become a sport that we had around here, but obviously with our declining enrollment, it's not. I know Duluth finally put together the whole city team, and they are playing with through the Minnesota State High School League, and it's if you've never watched lacrosse live, it is a sight to behold. I know I went to the state championship match. Well, it's got to be 7 years ago now, and I left a complete and utter fan. It's awesome if you're into football, whatever. It's a sport for you. It's got violence.
It does. It's got everything you need. It's like football, hockey, and basketball all combined because it's, you run around hitting each other. It's got the kind of basic strategy of hockey and the scoring of basketball. I mean, it might be a 20-14 game.
I did try it back in about 1980.
When we were out at Providence.
And
out east because
that ball is like super hard.
Yeah.
I mean, this thing, you do not want to get hit with it. Okay, they run around with shorts on, okay? They do have their little helmets on, but I don't think it's real smart to play that sport. I got to
get the reason on this.
Well, because the ball, it's this big, and it is hard as a rock.
Yeah.
I'll let you put everything together from there. Right?
Okay.
It just makes no sense to play that sport.
Wait a minute now. They play with a little black disc, cylinder type thing, and it's about as hard as a rock when you fire that thing off of a stick too, no?
Yeah, but they're skating around. You're just running around. It's like soccer. You're running and running and running and running.
Well, that with hockey, you got
It's
a
like
pad on
cross
every part of your
country
body. So
it's another question. Lacrosse, sport? No sport.
Sport, no doubt about it.
that's definitely a sport. Yeah.
No sport. I'm not going there. can't. Lacrosse.
Good enough.
I think we're good,
man.
unless we got one final question. Otherwise, we're closing this up because it's Bjorn. Thanks a lot for coming.
Hey, this is a lot of fun, guys.
Tell you what, go on his site, listen to it. He does have video also. It's a fun show. He does a good interview, and he's getting good at it. So you could be hearing a lot about this guy in the future.
You can find me on Facebook and Twitter. I don't know how much promoting I can do, but if you want to
Absolutely.
follow stuff, Facebook, the Bjorn Johnson Internet Program page, Twitter and Instagram at the North Star, TheNorstar. So
There you go.